The morning sun glints off blue waters as a Philippine Coast Guard ship sounds its horn. Suddenly, a Chinese vessel cuts across its path. Headlines flash, standoff in the West Philippine Sea. Social media is ablaze. News tickers scroll with words like collision, blockade, and protest. On television, anxious faces follow every new update. The world is watching this remote but crucial corner of Southeast Asia. For Filipinos, this scene is not fiction. It's a recurring reality. Each new confrontation raises fears of disaster. The West Philippine Sea, part of the larger South China Sea, has become a stage for power politics and national pride. The Philippine government calls for peace, but also for justice. China warns outsiders to stay away. Fishermen wonder if they'll be safe tomorrow. Why is this happening? Why does China keep sending ships to these waters? Why is the West Philippine Sea so important? These are not just questions for diplomats. They are questions for everyone who cares about peace, justice, and the future of the region. This essay will look beneath the headlines. We'll explore why China claims the West Philippine Sea, what's at stake, and how the world is responding. Through real events, legal debates, and personal stories, we'll try to answer the central question: why here, and why now? At the heart of the dispute is one question: why does China claim the West Philippine Sea? The answer is not simple. It is a mix of history, resources, law, and power. For China, these waters are about more than fish or oil. They touch the country's sense of identity and place in the world. China says its claim is ancient. Chinese maps show dotted lines stretching far into the sea. These historic rights, China argues, go back centuries. But the Philippines and other neighbors see things differently. They say China is grabbing what isn't theirs. The world's highest maritime court has agreed with the Philippines. Still, China pushes forward. It sends ships, builds artificial islands, and warns others away. Why? Because the West Philippine Sea holds more than treasure. It is a symbol of strength, security, and revival for China. But for the Philippines, it is home, heritage, and hope for the future. So the central question is not just legal, it's emotional and political. It is a clash of stories. To understand the fight, we must look at what's under the surface: the riches, the rules, and the memories that shape nations. Beneath the waves of the West Philippine Sea lies a hidden fortune. This region is rich in oil and natural gas. Energy experts say there could be billions of barrels waiting to be tapped. For growing economies, these resources offer the promise of power and industry. The Philippines dreams of energy independence. China wants to fuel its factories and cities. But it's not just about oil and gas. The sea is one of the world's richest fishing grounds. Every day, hundreds of Filipino, Vietnamese, and Chinese boats search for tuna, sardines, and mackerel. For coastal families, the sea is life itself. Fish stocks feed millions, and seafood exports earn billions. The sea's biodiversity is also unique. Coral reefs teem with life: giant clams, sea turtles, and colorful fish. Scientists warn that fighting and pollution threaten this natural treasure. If the reefs are lost, so is a vital part of the ocean's health. So, when countries argue over these waters, they are fighting for futures. Oil, gas, and fish mean jobs, money, and security. But the real wealth is shared, a living sea that belongs to all, not just to one nation. Who really owns the sea? The answer, according to most of the world, is no one. The idea of global commons means that certain spaces, like the high seas, the atmosphere, and even Antarctica, do not belong to any single country. They are meant to be shared and protected by all. International law says that countries have rights to waters close to their shores. These are called exclusive economic zones, or EEZs. But beyond that, the sea is open to everyone. No nation can claim the whole ocean as its own, no matter how powerful it is. The West Philippine Sea is part of this global commons. Fishing, shipping, and scientific research are supposed to be open, fair, and peaceful. When any country tries to block others, it goes against the spirit and the letter of international law. Yet the fight over the West Philippine Sea is really a fight over the idea of the global commons. It tests whether rules, agreed by all, can stand up to the ambitions of a few. It asks, can might make right, or does the law still matter at sea? The rules of the sea are set by a treaty called the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Signed in 1982, UNCLOS is kind of like a constitution for the oceans. It lays out how far national waters go, who can fish where, and how disputes should be settled. Both China and the Philippines have signed this treaty. UNCLOS gives each country an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, stretching 200 nautical miles from its coast. In this zone, the country can fish, drill for oil, and build islands, if the islands are real, not artificial. But when two countries' zones overlap, they have to negotiate. In 2013, the Philippines brought a case against China to an international court in The Hague. The Philippines argued that China's claims broke the rules. In 2016, the court sided with the Philippines. It said China's 9-dash line has no legal basis. It also said China was harming the environment. China rejected the ruling. It called the process unfair and refused to take part. But the ruling still stands. For many, it's proof that the law is on the Philippines' side, even if power is not. China's claim to the West Philippine Sea is drawn with a sweeping curve, called the 9-dash line. This line first appeared on Chinese maps in the 1940s. It covers nearly the entire South China Sea, including waters much closer to the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia than to China itself. Chinese leaders say their fishermen sailed these waters for centuries. They point to old maps and ship logs, but historians argue that these claims are vague and often exaggerated. The 9-dash line was never officially marked by international treaties. It is a symbol, not a legal boundary. Yet for China, the line is about more than fish or oil. It is about national pride. The country remembers a time called the Century of Humiliation, when it was weak and divided. Losing territory to foreign powers left deep scars. Today, leaders promise never to let that happen again. The 9-dash line, then, is a story China tells itself. A story of ancient rights and lost glory, but other nations see it as a story of overreach, and of a new kind of bullying at sea. Control of the West Philippine Sea is about more than resources. It is also about power and security. These waters are some of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of goods pass through. Whoever controls the sea can shape global trade. China has built artificial islands on reefs and rocks. These islands now have runways, radar towers, and ports. Satellite images show military planes and missile systems. For China, these bases are shields, meant to keep rivals out and protect its own trade. For others, they are threats. The United States and its allies worry that China wants to dominate all of East Asia. They say freedom of navigation must be defended. The Philippines fears being squeezed out or ignored. Local fishermen say they are already losing their homes and catch. So the West Philippine Sea is now a chessboard, with warships, coast guards, and fishing boats all in play. The stakes are high, not just for Asia but for the world. Talks between the Philippines and China are always tense. The Philippines wants respect for the law and for its people. It asks China to recognize the 2016 ruling and let Filipino fishermen work in peace. Leaders speak of friendship, but there is worry in every handshake. China, meanwhile, wants talks on its own terms. It offers loans, aid, and trade, but insists that its claims are not up for debate. Some Filipinos worry that too much trust could mean giving up rights. They remember broken promises, blocked boats, and growing Chinese patrols. Trust is hard to build and easy to break. Every new incident, a ship blocked, a fisherman chased away, adds to suspicion. Yet both sides know that open conflict would be a disaster. Dialogue continues, but so does the pressure. For ordinary Filipinos, the issue is personal. Will their children still have fish to catch? Will their country be respected and safe? These questions hang over every negotiation, shaping hopes and fears. In recent months, the Philippine government has spoken out more strongly. President and defense chiefs have visited disputed islands. Coast Guard ships have been sent to protect fishermen. Ordinary Filipinos post messages of pride and protest online. The message is clear. The nation will not be pushed around. Yet the challenge is not just for leaders. Every Filipino has a role to play. Learning the facts, supporting peaceful solutions, and standing together are more important than ever. The West Philippine Sea is not just a line on a map. It is part of the national story, a test of unity, courage, and hope. As news headlines keep coming, Filipinos must stay alert. The future of the sea is the future of the nation. By understanding, speaking out, and working together, Filipinos can help protect what is rightfully theirs, and remind the world that justice belongs to all.